Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Lost in Space Season 1, Episode 7. It is called Pressurized, so full spoilers for the episode as always. You complained there wasn't enough adventure and survival stuff last episode. Did you get your fix this episode?
I did. This was much more my speed.
I felt like you got a lot more quite early on, because we had multiple plots of survivalness going on at the same time. And before anyone asks me, I know that's not a word. Give me peace.
All right, don't worry. I've got some criticisms to come later, but there's lots of fun stuff, especially in the opening, like 20 minutes.
Yeah, so let's tackle Don and Judy, because they're on the way back from getting the fuel, and their path back's blocked. So they have to. If you remember from last episode, they set up that there's this big field with exploding rocks that were going off randomly. And I remember last episode thinking, oh, they set that up and then they never had to,
but
pay it off.
It turns out they're not going off so random.
They're random in that the rocks that are exploding are random, but they are timed in that whatever's causing them to explode is coming in waves. So basically they have to drive across the rock exploding field, and to figure out it's 3 minutes 30 seconds of a gap every so often where, oh, okay, so you've got 3 minutes to get across there, so we have to go this fast, but we're carrying all this fuel, we can't go that fast with all this, so they have to work it out. And we get this exciting sequence of both chariots, one of which of course has the fuel attached in the trailer behind them, travelling across this, and
which brings me to my first minor critique. The other one, it keeps showing it, he's putting his foot down as well. They're both going all out, but they're going at the same speed. Why are they still next to each other? This one with all the fuel should be slower.
Oh no, I just took that as Dawn was intentionally not.
Maybe it kept showing us the screens of both of them, like the dashboards, like it was like they were both going flat out.
I think he was just maintaining speed so he wasn't getting ahead because there was no point.
Okay. All right.
That's how I took that. But basically, something goes wrong. Well, because they keep saying, because at one point Don's kissing the wheel. He's like, hey, just I'll fix you later if something goes wrong. Just get us across the finish line. And of course, something goes wrong in the other chariot with the tanker. It's just a pipe that disconnects, and it's that has to be fixed because it's causing you to slow down.
Yeah, it's disconnecting essentially, and it's dragging off.
Yeah. And one of the guys on the other chariot is like, sorry, you know what, I've got this. And he goes out the top of the chariot and he's climbing over and he's doing his action sequence car chase thing. And he's like, oh, don't worry, I'm a sufferer. And then he almost dies immediately. And he's like, oh, no, okay, I was a sufferer. Never mind. And the whole thing is they're all talking to over the comms. If I have a minor complaint is that she's talking directly to him with the comms. And
I thought the comm was hanging inside by the wheel.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's just them saying, oh, he's got an earpiece, it's fine. But I'm like, okay, you never really established that in any way, shape, or form, but that's fine.
They didn't.
Again, some minor thing, it doesn't really matter.
I mean, maybe he can hear because it comes out of the speakers, right? So maybe with the hatch open, he can just hear.
I feel like it'd be really loud, though. He's hanging on back there. And
I think so too.
But hey, whatever. I mean, like I say,
I'm not gonna lie, this crossed my mind as well.
minor quibble. It's not a big deal, but hey, so it reconnects. Everyone's all happy. It's all going well, but they just don't quite make it across the edge in time, and some of the rocks explode. Don dodges a couple in the chariot. They get out okay, but the other one gets hit, and they come out.
Not much maneuverability when you're dragging a tanker.
And the chariot itself is fine, but the tanker's flipped over, and of course the guy who was still in the back, he didn't have time to climb back in. He was just kind of there for the ride at that point. The tanker's on him, his legs are under it. He is in pain. Judy runs out immediately. I actually liked how this was handled from a filmmaking perspective and just the timing of it, where she just immediately knew he'd be in trouble and she just grabbed her kit and just started going, and the camera sticks with her as she runs up towards him. It's like, okay, I'm going there, because she's already worried what's happened to him because he must be screwed. It's I liked how it handled that in terms of the adrenaline of the scene. And she gets up to him, and it becomes this question of kind of morality versus practice, where they're okay, right, we have to pick up the tanker immediately, so they start hooking up a chariot to sort of drag it up so they can get it up over him. And as Judy points out, she only needs it up a couple of inches just enough to pull him out, and then they can set it back down. But what's his name, Victor? He's the leader. He looks down. He's noticing that there's a bit of a leak, and he's like, hey, don't pull this. The rock's impaled it. It's pressurized. If you pull this up, it's going to start flooding out, and we're going to lose a lot of the fuel. And Judy's like, no, what, I can save his life. Like, we have to do this. He's like, look, we'll radio for the other ships to like bring a tanker that we can, can transfer it over, and then we can lift it. But if he does die, it's for the good of getting all of the ships and all of the families off the planet.
Yeah, including the rest of his family. And
this is, do you know what I liked about this? Is I liked that it actually, like, it didn't feel villainous because it actually did make sense.
No, I'm on his side.
I mean, I'm not completely on his side. I see both sides of this completely. You're a complete cynical prick, though. So no, I completely get why you're on his side 100%.
I am. Like he says, we all sign up for this. We know this is the risks. Hey, look, it's one versus however many they've got in the camp.
Look, it makes sense. I think he's making valid points. But I do get the idealistic. No, we have to do whatever we can to save him. Now, admittedly, a lessons might be learned here. From her, that she maybe can't save everyone, and she shouldn't save everyone. That said, he was a bit of a dick when he flat out said, he says, "Oh, how many actual patients have you had where you weren't being supervised by a real doctor?" And I'm like, "Oh, that was uncalled for." Now, come on, that was uncalled for. I was half expecting Dawn to just punch him after that line, because that was such a dickish thing to say, But no, like, I get her idealistic viewpoint, and I get, Dawn, and obviously this is Dawn's hero moment where like, he kind of like wins points back with her, because obviously she's still giving him shit for like, taking money and profiting off of their survival. And here's like, what, screw this. And like, even though Victor says, no, like, if you do this, you're not getting your money. It's like, well, whatever, screw you, and does it anyway. So it was a nice moment for him. It was a nice moment for their relationship where she will now see an ally in Dawn.
Yeah.
She'll see someone that has her back. And it also plays into Don's character as well, because Don's character from the first episode we met him, it was very much, he keeps saying that he'll do the hard thing, he keeps saying that he'll let people die if it makes sense, but he kept turning his back on that opinion. He kept just changing his mind. He's like, no, I can't just do it, I have to save them. Yeah. He kept doing that. So this also plays into his character that we've known him up till this point as well.
It does. I will say, I disapproved of the logic in the flipping of the tank. Not all right, fine, they made the decision that we're getting the tank up. They leave it just upright, and this made no sense to me, because I'm like, okay, so there's a hole on one side, it's pouring out while you're lifting it, sure,
keep moving and flip it back
going
over.
Or go to the other side, and then you're not going, because as it is, it's just going to drop to below that line and drop below the level, whereas flip it over, just get it over quickly, and you can save a lot more of this, and then get another tanker out here.
Yes, no, I concur with this logic. Again, I feel this is one of these minor quibbles, like the comms thing. Well, I mean, okay, this is a bigger deal in the sense that they're actually talking about how much fuel they're losing, but ultimately, it's like, it's there to serve its plot purpose. And yeah, sure, we're sitting here going, we can figure out a better way to do this.
I think the thing is, even if they'd suggested that and then said, do you know what, we did this, we tried, and we still don't have enough fuel. Yeah, that's all that it would take, so to not undermine the plot. They would go, do you know what, we needed all of that. That's still not enough.
I think it's just a case of saving time. I get more from a rating perspective. It was just let's not have to go through that step.
Sure, it felt like a really glaring omission to me, though.
Or maybe it's just this. Maybe on paper it seems it didn't. There's nothing stuck out in the page. It wasn't until you actually look at it visually where you went, maybe we could have actually saved a lot of fuel, but just flipping it again. I can see them in the writers' room not thinking of this because it just sounds okay on the paper.
No, I get it.
But when we see it and we actually see it, just flip it again so that it's not, it's upright.
It's to the other side.
Yeah. When we see that, because we visually just sort of see, well, this would just save a bit more fuel. You lose a bit while you're flipping it, but not too much.
Yeah, you lose less than just leaving it to empty out upright.
Yeah. Or if even someone said, hey, can we do this? And then said, no, we can't do that because the top of the tank that we'd have to flip it onto is like rounded or something, so it would just kind of...
Sure.
It would just flip over again or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
But hey, I like the debate because I see both sides, and I think both sides make a lot of sense from a character perspective and an emotionally perspective. Whereas you are really cynical. And...
Yeah, my problem is I think one of them's flat out wrong.
No,
I understand the character thinking this, but it's hard to connect with the viewpoint where I'm just like, that makes no sense to me.
No, that's fine though, but you don't have to connect with it. You just have to understand her side of it.
I get that. I think it's slightly more of an issue when this is the side I'm supposed to be coming down on. From the show's perspective, I'm supposed to come down with her. She's the hero in the situation.
Well, I don't know if you are, because ultimately the guy dies anyway in the way back, and it was all for nothing. I think there's a lesson to be learned here. So I think maybe you're maybe meant to side with her at first, and then along with her realize, oh no, wait, like that wasn't worth it. Like that was actually the wrong choice.
Maybe.
But I don't think you're meant to just be clearly on her side the whole time and be like, oh, like I think she's learning something from this.
That's fair.
And again, she's only had 2 patients. She's not had anyone die on her before. She's like determined to keep her perfect streak going. it's admittedly her last patient did end up trying to kill the robot and got her dad hurt and went psychotic. Not on her though. She's there for the physical elements, not the
and let's note her first patient. She was just instructing. She wasn't actually doing.
Well, no. She made her leg brace and all that afterwards. She did all that. She still treated her after the fact.
Sure. But the hard part.
Oh, give Penny a degree then. She's the one who did it.
I'm not saying that is enough to give her a degree. I'm just saying, she's done 1.5 patients.
1.5 patients. But no, I liked all the action of the actual driving across. I liked the moral debate of do we save him, do we not? Because it perfectly made sense to me. Even if you think, oh, one's definitely the side that you fall on, it does make sense that this is a debate that would happen. Because, yeah, like, this is going to kill him if we don't move it. And yes, if we move it, it's going to like drain some fuel, and it might like jeopardize who can actually go back and who can make it back up to the ship. Like, these are all valid points. Although I was thinking during this, well, technically only one ship has to go up, and then they can send down help because they'll know where they are, and they can just communicate that way.
Potentially, yeah.
Because no one else knows right now that the planet's like dying.
No, that's true.
So, like, it's not all doom or gloom, which would be a point that I would argue in Judy's favour, that we'll only need enough for one ship to go up, and then everyone else can get, send back down help. It's easy.
No, that's fair.
You come back down with some fuel if that's what it takes.
Yeah, no, okay.
Anyway, but yeah, the moral debate makes sense to me, even if you do side with one more than the other. And I don't think I do. I actually think logically his makes sense, but I get not wanting to just abandon the kid, especially when he just heroically kind of saved everyone else's lives. Which is actually a neat little writing trick as well, because we actually cared about him a little bit because he'd just done that.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, not a great amount, but enough that he wasn't just, he was more than a red shirt, I guess is what I'm saying. He leveled up beyond red shirt level.
Yeah, what is the level above red shirt? We don't have I don't think we have a level for that, like a phrase. It's like that's the level that they're at.
Yeah, I don't know if you need a phrase. I think the point is if they're more than red shirt, it just means you cared. Like, they weren't just fodder. Like, even though ultimately his purpose was to go through this.
I think there's a point here though where they're, I don't even know his name. Do you? Without checking?
No, I don't know his name.
Right. So there's a level that's okay. He's not a red shirt because I got something out of him, but ultimately I don't know who this guy is.
His death had meaning.
Yeah, but I'm just saying there should be some terminology to describe this particular set of character.
But then you have more varied levels, like, because you could argue that a character who you think's worthless but has been around for a while is technically not a red shirt because we know who they are and they're kind of a recurring character, but you might get less out of their death than, say, this character here, who in one scene they made us care about a little bit because he did some noble things, and he had some banter about the surfing, and it was like, okay, he's a person,
Can't argue with that.
So, so then you've got like different phases of this level. You get, like, where do you
really
classify?
What I want is I need a scale. I need a fancy name for this scale, and then we got to.
Are they all shirts? Is it just like different coloured shirts? Like,
not necessarily. We just need a scale that we can go. Yeah, okay. Ultimately, I feel this character was a 3 on the scale, and a 3 is whatever that is designated.
Gold shirts are unkillable because they're the main character. Blue shirts are secondary main characters and very unlikely to die, but could maybe go out in a season finale to be the big point of the season, and it's a big dramatic exit because they're killing a main character. And then, I don't know what's in between red and blue, all those colours.
I think this needs some thinking of.
But just based on Star Trek colours, those things make sense to me. So, Anyway, so that plot I thought was we somehow spent 15 minutes on that one plot.
Yeah, I have no idea how.
But one thing to add to this though is before this all happens, it kind of gets overshadowed. But they're talking about Smith, and like there's even a moment where Judy calls the ship, and it's Smith that answers, and she's like struggling to like keep in her emotions. She's like, "No, I'll talk to my mother. It's fine. I'll see you later, Smith, you bitch." Like, like it was so obvious, and like Dawn's like, "You come on." Put your poker face here. Come on, pretend you don't know.
I did think it was a bit weird where, so Don shows her. She goes, "Oh, I should have known." I was like, "How?" There's been nothing, no hints to her about anything.
I think that's just a phrase people say.
Sure.
No, I genuinely think it's just a phrase people say in something like this. Like, oh, I should have known she was lying. Not because there was hints of that she didn't know what she was talking about, or because she did anything suspicious, just because, oh, this creepy liar has been living in her house for like a week, and I should have maybe just had an inkling that they weren't like who they said they were. They were actually this awful person. Yeah, it doesn't bother me. Sometimes you get hung up in the weirdest.
I think it was the response where Don's like, "Hey, she had me fooled too." I'm like, yeah, that's kind of that's the point. Like he responded to it as if she was genuinely like, "Oh, I should have had an idea. I should have known. Like I should have realized something was up with it."
Yeah, she's just beating herself up because she wished she knew. She wished she could have figured it out. Like,
okay,
that makes sense to me. It's just again you're looking at it from this pure logical thing. Oh, she had no evidence, so therefore why can she say that she should have known? It's not a logical thing. This is just purely her beating herself up over it.
I think it's just like that's the line that makes sense to me if you have even the slightest feeling of something. Whereas she has had no reason to doubt her whatsoever yet.
Well, yeah, she kind of does. You're forgetting like the entire thing when Angela actually said, and then she found out that Smith said, "Oh, she wasn't alone, or she was alone, but she wasn't."
Yeah, okay. Judy did have that, I suppose.
Yeah, there was that whole thing.
Yeah, okay.
So your argument's full of shit anyway.
Fine. I was thinking that was with Penny. That was with Judy. You're right. I'm mixing the two up.
God, my God.
That was on me.
Right. Anyway, so moving on. So obviously I'm excited for the confrontation, but they're making us wait for it. Like they're building it. Like okay, and you get the thing like she's going to be so distraught with Dawn when they get back, like next episode. We might get that scene where
she's not going to remember.
Well, no, it's not. She's going to remember. But she's going to as soon as she sees her, she's going to remember. Right. But like it's sort of thing where she'll have forgotten about it until she sees her, and it'll be that moment of like, oh wait. I'm ready for a fight. I'm in the mood to fight after this. Like, emotions will be high. She'll go for it. Assuming that Smith's not already got the robot working, and it'll be like, oh no, now you all work for me because I've got a robot who'll kill you if I tell him to.
Pretty good threat.
And that seems to be her goal. She's out there with the robot, trying to like put them back together, and being frustrated that it's not working. It's not until she's watching footage of the Robinsons finding like his ship, and the noise kind of wakes him up. Yeah. But hey, So that was pretty much it with her, but clearly, yeah, she's just like, yeah, because she actually outright says, you're going to do all the bad things so that I can survive. Like, and I'm like, you did kill someone already. Like, you've already kind of crossed the line.
Yeah, there was a point where she says, I'm not a killer. I just want to survive. I'm like, you outright killed that dude in the airlock.
Yeah. That said, though, he kind of ended up in the airlock by accident, and then she just chose not to like let him back in. So, and I'm not saying that that's not killing someone. I'm saying that in her twisted logic. She's like, it's kind of like how she's always lying to everyone else. She's lying to herself. She's like, oh no, that wasn't really my fault. I just.
No, okay, I'm with you. That's kind of like the distinction. It was like, okay, is a lie by omission lying?
If it's relevant, it is. If it's not relevant, then it's not.
Right. But I think that that's my point here. Is where she's like, I'm not a killer, and I'm like, well. Did you kill that guy? By omission, by not doing anything you did. So it's like, is it relevant? Yes. It's relevant.
She did absolutely kill him. I was saying in her twisted mind, she didn't.
Yeah, no. I think she'd come down the other side of the lie by omission isn't lying.
Oh sure, yeah. I feel like she'd come down on whatever side makes her right in any context.
Probably.
She strikes me as that character. So that was that. Will's really upset all episode, and Penny again having a nice little character moment where she's going to like run off with the new boyfriend, and she feels bad because Will's feeling upset, so she actually ends up like cancelling that because there's that funny moment where her mother's like, oh, Will needs you to look after him, so don't no sneaking off, and she's like, but it's kind of my thing. It was a funny little moment. But basically, she decides to actually be the sweet big sister and actually try and help her brother. And she lets him fly in the big like robot arm. You know, it's like, hey, do you want to let it fly? And you know, I actually thought the moment where he like, you know, they'll both put their hands up and he flashes back to the robot doing it. I thought that was actually surprisingly an effective little, you know, heartstring tug. It was like, oh, poor Will.
Fair enough.
Worked for me. And then she helps him build these little. He's making models of the robot, model parts for something else, and so
give him a little light bulb head.
So you know, that was. I mean, obviously, it was just it was probably the least exciting subplot of the episode, but it was, you know, it was a sweet little moment. It was like Penny, like for all her like attitude and stuff that we kind of like her for. It was like no, she does have a heart as well, and it's kind of like so you know, even though in a real world context, I have never seen a sibling be this kind to their younger sibling, but you know, that's fine.
No, I never was.
Yeah, but you're a dick.
I just hit him. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. So the final plot then was the Robinson parents, and of course I've kind of left out just to go back round to the Dars. Victor finds out from his son. It's like when he realizes all the ships don't have enough fuel, he's like, oh, I need to tell you this then. And then basically at the end he's like, well, we're just going to leave because we've got the fuel here, because he's taken it back to his ship. He's taken it there, so he's like, oh yeah, we're just going to leave everyone else. So he's been a selfish dick, and
Smith would approve.
We'll see. Oh, Smith would approve, but Smith will be like, try to like, if she finds it, catches wind of this, she'll be like, oh, hey, I won't say a word if I can come.
Yeah. I wonder how many people would try that.
Won't say a word. So, and that's the other thing as well. Like, how many people can they put in one ship?
I mean, it's a fair question. They seem relatively sizable.
Yeah, I mean, if you get enough for 3 ships to go up, then just get everyone into 3 ships.
I think the issue is the weight. It's just like they might have enough to get one ship up, but okay, you pack everyone onto it, and
There's not that many people though. You know, given the size and scale of the ships, I don't think you know, because there's like maybe like 30 people or something like that, 40.
Yeah, I guess it all depends. Obviously, the calculations with the ships in general, the fuel capacities are built around what, 5 or 6 people as a family, because they're designed for one family. So you add 30 people to one ship. That's got to throw the calculations off quite drastically.
Just a thought. I mean, especially since it doesn't sound like there's just enough for one ship. It sounds like there's like more than that, because he's like, oh, there's not enough for everyone. So it sounds to me like, oh, there's like half left or something.
Yeah, could be.
So I don't know. But yeah, so he's being a dick. But the Robinson parents, Maureen and John, they end up they're out go out to do a thing, and they end up. Something happens in the forest. There's like
seismic activity.
Seismic activity, yes, and they end up backed up into a tar pit, and they can't walk in the tar pit because the heat and stuff. Yeah, it's a tar pit, and they're gradually sinking. So there's some survival stuff here with them, like trying to figure out how to survive. They make like a rope with a hook, and that doesn't really work because they're sinking too fast. And it all ends with them making like this helium balloon thing to like sort of crawl through the tar pit and get out at the edge of the pit.
Yeah.
And this is a fun idea. Has a really good laugh at the end of it, because obviously they have they're just trapped in there for the whole episode, and they're kind of having this heart to heart, and he's admitting that he made a mistake, signing back up again. He regrets doing it. And they reminisce a little bit and all the rest of it, but eventually he thinks he's ready to sacrifice himself, because like, okay, we're running out of air, right? And there's one suit,
yeah, these things survive space. They can survive a tar pit.
Yeah, even especially just for a couple of minutes while you're swimming up or whatever. And she's like, no, I can't leave you. He's like, no, you're going to do this. And he suits her all up, and he's like, and because we've never seen them kiss before. Like, this is the first time I've seen them kiss. He's like, okay, right, I love you, kiss. And then she's like, no, wait, I thought of a thing. And she's got this wacky helium balloon idea, and they get outside the balloon. There's this tense sequence of them crawling through tar pit. I imagine it's roasting in this tunnel they've got.
Yeah,
this balloon.
They've got not much air, because obviously they took some oxygen, but there's got to last something. So it's a bit tough.
And they get out and they're lying there, and after a second, she just turns and goes with high pitched helium voice, "I love you too."
Yeah.
And then they're just giggling. They're just lying there laughing with the high pitch for a good few seconds. Yeah, which there was a fun escape. Again, survival stuff. There was the survival.
I was digging it.
Racing stuff, and then there was a survival. This was the problem solving survival.
Bless you.
I usually do it in twos, so which is why I'm kind of waiting for the second one.
I go in threes myself.
Yeah, very very rarely one, very rarely three. Usually
or that one time I went 17.
I've not done that. I've never done that.
I sneezed 17 times in a row and pulled a muscle in my shoulder, my collarbone. It was painful.
What is your life? Anyway, so, and honestly, most of the actual, like, we're stuck in here. We have to actually talk about our, because we think we're going to die. So let's get everything out in the open stuff. Honestly, most of that kind of worked. Like,
it's all right.
I think there was always risk of it, veering into like melodramatic or whatever. But most of the stuff they talked about had been set up, and then the stuff that was kind of new, the whole, we had this apartment, it was really warm, and like. And most of it worked because it was like her saying, "Oh, well," because there's a little funny joke where he's like, "Oh, you've got a PhD in engineering. Why don't you fix the goddamn AC?" And it's it's sort of joking the way he asks it. And she's like, "Ah, the kids like the ice cream and the pretzels, yeah." So we were having fun, so I just left it, and it was like, oh, okay.
No, this thing because I'm not like super invested in them as a couple.
I wouldn't say I am
so
either,
like I said, there was a real danger of this just feeling melodramatic, and it's like, no, it was fine. I didn't like love all the stuff, but I'm like, no, this all worked well enough.
Yeah, all of it played well enough. There was no point where I was rolling my eyes. Everything was kind of like makes sense based on who they are. And it played into the whole awkwardness of like because they've been kind of estranged for however long, and now they're kind of mending those fences a little bit.
And of course, she tells him about Will failing the test to get out here.
Yeah, and he is just kind of understands and gets it, and because it's almost like that's right after he's admitted that he regrets going back to the army. He just he's like, no, that was the bad choice. Sometimes to learn a lesson you have to be kicked in the face, which is actually a really nice parallel to Judy's story in this, that she had to be kicked in the face to learn the lesson. Not literally, of course, but
I wonder if he'll be a bit more protective of Will now, because at the start he was like, he went through the same training as all of us.
But now he knows
he'll man up and get on with it.
Yeah.
But now he knows, maybe he'll be a bit different.
And no robot now either, so...
No, exactly.
May have to. So, obviously, I'm looking forward to when the robot comes back into play, because I'm expecting, obviously, the big moment that's going to happen is when Will regains control of him, because who knows what Smith's going to have him doing, and then Will's going to jump out and be like, no, remember me, robot.
I think it'll be interesting, because if she does come in with control, assuming this is before the whole camp knows, what Judy and Don do, then they might trust the robot more, because it's like, okay, there's an adult controlling this, someone rational that we can, we can have debates, not just a kid doing what they.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like June and Don will get. I mean, we might get to see them going to tell the brother, the guy who died, but they should be back at the ship. It won't be the whole episode again with them on the journey back. So I expect like the news, at least for the rest of the family, they'll find out pretty swiftly.
Yeah, probably.
Unless they're all separated all episode because everyone's away doing something, but
could be, and it depends where Smith is as well, and because like you say, you think it might be the moment where she sees her that she gets the realization and remembers.
Yeah.
If Smith's just off out with the robot doing something, she won't see her.
That said, though, I think if someone mentions her, like we don't know where Smith is right now, and she'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's right. I've got a thing to tell you, Dad."
Yeah.
So there's things.
See how it plays.
Yeah, it's also worth mentioning as well. They know that the robot printed the gun because Will comes in and kind of fesses up, and because a little bit, that's our serial number here. What's going on? Yeah. And Will's like, oh no, because John's like, it wasn't me. I told you. I tried to. It didn't work.
Yeah. Still blaming him though.
Yeah, she's still looking like that was you, wasn't it? No. So and just going back to Smith being slimy, like her being like behind him, going, "Oh, I don't know what would make her do this. Like, I would never have like thought she'd be capable. Who would have given her a gun? Like."
And they're like, who could have got the gun? And it's like, well, let's face it, they've all been in here. It could have been anyone. And Smith's like, I think it might have been that Victor. He was pretty against that robot.
Yeah, which might add to the whole tension next episode if they find out he's planning on leaving. Plus, they think he gave her the gun.
Yeah.
It could be, high stakes, high tension.
Yeah. The Robinsons are very judgmental, aren't they? Just jump to they're like, hey, you know what? Yeah, sure, it could be Victor.
Yeah. Oh, to be fair, they were going for evidence, though. They were going to speak to Angela to find out. But hey, I enjoyed this episode quite a bit. I think all there was some nice thematic links between the plots, and then two of them had a lot of fun action survival stuff. Nicely spread out throughout the episode. It was brisk, and
also completely threw me off because we had an opening title sequence again.
Two in a row, yeah. So just to keep track,
what's going on now.
That is episodes 3, 6, and 7 have had opening title sequences.
Yeah, there goes our backup theory. Was maybe it'll be 3, 6, and then the last.
Yeah.
So I don't know, just as they feel like it. Shits and giggles.
Yeah. No, that's
just to see if it'll annoy people like us.
How do they decide though? It's like,
I say they go. We'll do it 3. We'll do it at 6. They'll think there's a pattern, and then we'll just throw it in at 7. Give them a curveball.
I mean, if the ones that have had it all been the shorter episodes, but I don't see why they'd care. It's Netflix.
Yeah, there's no reason. They can have them on this one and just be,
Because this one was about 52 minutes. This one was on the shorter side of what we've had, but like,
right.
Not by any.
The opening titles is about what, a minute 20, give or take.
Like that, yeah.
So you can add that onto all of them, no problem on Netflix. It doesn't really matter.
And there's a skip option, because that's the thing. I know we're about to get it because it comes up saying skip intro. It doesn't do that with the other episodes.
And of course, at this point, they know that the skip intro feature is there.
Oh yeah, they all do. Yeah.
So when they're choosing to put it on.
So I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so Connor had some more stupid arguments to make this episode. That seems to be a running trend in this show for some reason.
Ultimately, I had way more fun with this episode than I have with any of the last few.
I think it's probably been the best in the last few, but I still enjoyed the last couple though. But this was a blast, this one. So yeah, let us know what you thought of this one, and as he comments below, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailedfuzztv. There's a link in the description. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV. Have you got any vanilla?